Hey, what's up you guys, it's Frank, and in today's video, I'm going to be reading fucked up fanfiction about myself. So, I went on Wattpad, or however you say it, and typed in my name, and there was an alarming amount of fanfiction that you guys have written about me, and I decided to go look. So one that stood out to me was Frank x Pepe. So, without further ado, let's get into this, and maybe some other fanfics depending on how long they are. It was a warm summer day. Frank decided to stroll down to Starbucks for a drink. As he walked in, he stumbled upon a familiar face ordering a vanilla macchiato. Could it be his crush from high school? Pepe the Frog? No! As Pepe turned around, he instantly spotted Frank. Their eyes locked for a good 15 minutes before Dan and Phil came in and smacked them in the back of their heads with their Gucci purses. I am loving this already. Get yourself together, Frank, said Dan. Kiss the frog, Phil shouted. All of a sudden, the princess from The Princess and the Frog appeared. It's my job to kiss the frog, she shrieked. Frank and Pepe were dangerously confused, so they ran off into the sunset. Once they stopped at a mildly decent tree, Pepe spoke. Frank, I've always loved you. I wonder what Pepe would sound like. Be like a frog? Something like that. Frank was surprised. Could this be happening? Never. Frank sang, and I will always love you. I am not. No. Out of nowhere, Whitney Houston came from the heavens to announce their marriage. You may kiss the frog, but that's my job. The princess, Tiana, tried to shout, but Dan and Phil shoved a small Gucci purse in her mouth and watched as Frank and Pepe happily got married. They all held hands and bowed. And cut. That was wonderful, guys. The show is tomorrow, the director said. Little did anyone know that Frank and Pepe were actually in love, and every month they buy a hamster. The end. So, was that like a movie with me and Pepe in it, and I still love Pepe? Wow, okay, that was something. And Dan and Phil were in it with Gucci purses, fantastic. So that was a pretty short one, so let's go see another one. Oh my gosh, okay. Deflate Me Daddy, a Crank That Frank fic. The teaser is, Frank wakes up to an unexpected surprise and definitely enjoys every little bit of the outcome. Wink. Frank woke up to the faint light of the morning sun shining in his face. God, turn off the damn sun, the black-haired boy groaned. Oh, this must be not new. And suddenly it got darker. God? Frank asked, his eyes still closed. He heard a male voice right above him chuckle. Frank's eyes burst open and he shot up. Well, tried anyway. Bang! Both Frank and the mysterious male groaned in pain. He tried to open his eyes, but it only made his head ache. Who are you? He asked, opening his eyes finally. When his eyes fully focused, he came upon a tall, pale, blue-eyed and black-haired boy. Who could that be? Who are you? He asked, opening his eyes finally. Oh my motherfucking god! Frank screamed, nearly shitting his pants. No fucking way, he exclaimed, jumping up and down on his bed. The mystery boy laughed, looking at Frank. He looks like an overgrown 5-year-old who was told he was going to Disney World. That's me. It's you, it's really you. Frank was smiling so hugely you'd think his face might rip. After about an hour of fangirling, he finally popped the question. So like, how did you find my house and how did you get in? I asked Evangeline on Twitter and she gave me your address, plus your front door was unlocked. To be continued. Oh, that was gonna get so good. Okay, so here's another one, which what is this called? The Fanfic? I don't know if that means like Frank and fan, but I'm gonna read it, okay. It's 8:26 a.m. and Frank has just woken up to look at his phone. The bright light shines into his eyes, almost blinding him, but luckily it didn't. He went to look at Twitter when he found out Dan and Phil tweeted him to come to their apartment and film a collab. But what he didn't know is something different was gonna happen. Frank threw his phone and screamed in shock. What the? He stopped to think, maybe it was fake, maybe that got hacked. But no, it was all true. Dan and Phil want Frank to come to their house. He quickly grabbed everything he could, got dressed, brushed his teeth, and ran out of the door. An hour passed and he managed to find the apartment. Dan and Phil were stood outside waiting until they saw him. This is like my dreams, like... Okay. They stared deep and hard to Frank's eyes, dragging him closer and closer to them, until Dan started to speak. Hi Frank, we've been waiting for you all morning. Why don't you come inside, we have a surprise for you. Phil nodded and gave Dan a very evil smirk. Okay. Frank looked so excited but at the same time a bit scared. We heard that you would be middle. Oh. Oh gosh. They both asked. Frank just slightly nodded in confusion. I thought we were making a collab, Frank asked. We'll get to that later, Phil responded, and then all of a sudden Dan ran up to Frank and started tearing his clothes off. I'm screaming. Phil is grabbing a whip. They're screaming for me to like it. Dan dragged Frank into the living room and let his face down on the table, tying him to the table leg. Then started to strip Phil whilst they licked each other very roughly until they were completely naked and covered in red marks. Phil had gotten used to all this stuff before, so... Okay. Phil reached for the whip when Dan pushed his arm away to stop him. Let's go easy on little Frankie first. This is getting really creepy. I'm trying to escape a little bit. They haven't even started yet. I'm getting whipped. I'm moaning. Dan says I'm gonna be middle now. Penetration. Some cocks are out. And that one's to be continued. Well, I just began to middle in that one. Okay, so anyway, those are like some fan fictions that I wanted to read for you guys because those exist, and this video may spark more to be written. Okay. I feel like that was like scratching the surface of what could have been bad. I've read so much worse. It'd be really awkward if the authors were watching this video. But yes, those are some fan fictions that are involving me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a very big thumbs up, like the video, favorite, share it with your grandma, because I'm narrating. Grandmas like narrating. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified when this idiot makes a new video. I love you guys very, very much, and I will see you in the next one.
You've just been spanked.